You're watching Taste of Victory.
DarkKnightmon is a really interesting addition to the Booster Set 10 lineup. This is another old deck that is getting new support in the set because of the new Digi-Cross mechanic. We see introduced the new card in the set is a new DarkKnightmon, except this time it is able to perform Digi-Cross. It is on play, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, then if you Digi-Cross with 2 materials, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less. All turns when this Digimon will be deleted by returning one level 4 or lower black Digimon card from this card's sources to your hand. You may play one SkullKnightmon or DeadlyAxemon from this Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying its memory cost, and then Digi-Cross -2 for SkullKnightmon and DeadlyAxemon. So as you can see, this is kind of supporting the old strategy this deck had anyways of hard slamming stuff, getting things underneath other things' sources, playing things from sources when deleted, except it facilitates it a little bit more by making it cheaper with the Digi-Cross mechanic reducing it. Since this is Digi-Cross -2 for those 2 materials being SkullKnightmon and DeadlyAxemon, if you get the full combo of Digi-Cross off, this is actually a 4 cost to hard slam level 5. So it's kind of taking the old strategy if you've already played DarkKnightmon before and tried to make it a little bit more cost efficient. Let's see how we're going to build up towards that. First are our eggs. We have Pagumon. This is a very good black egg, basically one of the best eggs in the color, which is why you're going to see it in a lot of these builds. It is on deletion, reveal the top card of your deck, add it to your hand if it's a black Digimon. Easy to meet. We have a lot of targets, so it's very unlikely to miss, even if it will happen eventually, but we're going to max it out to make sure we always get that extra draw potentially. Then we move on to our rookies. We have stats turned on up here, so you can see that we are running 13 rookies. We are mainly toolboxing this and then have a little bit of search in it. Let's start with Monitamon. It is 3 to play, 2000 DP. On play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck, which is already a very generous search. Then you get to add 2 cards that are either black with Knightmon or DeadlyAxemon in their names, or with Twilight and their traits among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is crazy generous. Not only do you reveal top 4, you get to grab 2, and then they can either be a card that's black with Knightmon or DeadlyAxemon, or Twilight, which means this does grab your Nene if you reveal it off of the search. Nene is a Tamer that has Twilight in its traits, so this card is able to grab that off of the top 4. So it's very unlikely for this to miss with so many targets that you have. It's a fantastic search option for the deck. The other Digimon we have is another Monitamon. So this is basically the exact same search, except a little bit more limiting and not as good, which is why we are running it at less copies. This one is also 3 member to play, 2000 DP. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Knightmon in its name or DeadlyAxemon among them to your hand, place the remaining at the bottom of the deck in any order. So it's basically the same search except a little bit more limited, but having more searches that is very likely to hit with how many of the same name Digimon we are running is great, so we're going to run at least 2 copies of it to have slightly more consistency on our bottom end. After that, we're basically just toolboxing the rest of our rookie lineup. 1 Chuumon because it blocks memory gain from effects other than Tamer, so this is good against Lilith Loop, this is good against Blue Flare. A lot of people don't seem to be liking Blue Flare a lot right now, and Lilith Loop is going to be a specialty deck for people that really like that playstyle, so we're only running it at once since we're not expecting to run into it too much, but if you do see a lot of it at your locals, go ahead and up the count. Then we have Chikurimon. This is the old one from Booster Set 6. It's really amazing. It's 3 to hard slam, 1000 DP, and it has a security effect at the end of the battle, trigger de-Digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon. This makes our security much more annoying and is a really impactful bomb in this format where you need things to stick on the field for their after attacking effect, like Shoutmon X4 in Crossheart decks. So this makes our security a little bit more dangerous to swing into while also giving us the free draw off of a black egg, if we see it in our opening hand. Then we got the new Chikurimon introduced in the Ragnar Lordmon starter deck. It is also 3 member to play, 3000 DP, and then has the effect all turns, players can't reduce play cost, which stops the Digi-Cross mechanic. With how popular the mechanic is going to be in this set that introduces it, it's a pretty good idea to stock up on any amount of these. We're just running it at 2, so we have enough room for everything else. That covers our rookie lineup. We move up to our level 4s, which makes up the bulk of the deck and possibly our most important level. We start off with the new card introduced in Booster Set 10, SkullKnightmon Mighty Axe Mode. It is 4 to play, 3 to Digivolve from a black level 3, 5000 DP. The name of this card is also treated as SkullKnightmon and DeadlyAxemon. On play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 card with Knightmon in its name, DeadlyAxemon or Nene Amano among them to your hand, trash the remaining cards. Then, if you Digi-Cross with 2 materials, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 4 or less. Digi-Cross -1 for SkullKnightmon and DeadlyAxemon. So if you get the full combo of Digi-Cross materials off, it is only a 2 cost to hard slam champion, which is awesome because then you not only get a search to up consistency, you also get to delete possibly a rookie or maybe a really cheap level 4, which is great if your opponent has any floodgates on the field you want to get rid of. So it's really nice for the consistency and early hard slamming if you see the stuff in hand or you already have the other pieces on the field. We move on to SkullKnightmon, which is one of the more important champions of the deck. It is 4 to hard slam, 2 to Digivolve into from a level 3, 3000 DP. When attacking, you may trash all of the Digivolution cards of one of your DeadlyAxemon and place that DeadlyAxemon at the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards to Digivolve this Digimon into a DarkKnightmon in your hand without paying its memory cost. Inheritable, your turn, while this Digimon has Knightmon or Pagumon in its name, it gains security attack +1. The Inheritable is amazing because it basically works with our entire top end to help this deck be a little more aggressive, which is what it kind of lacks. And then also it's when attacking to let you go into the level 5 for free is potentially really strong to help you quickly climb up into your top end. So there is a combo you could run with this deck. There's a funny interaction with the X Antibody option. The X Antibody lets you digivolve its inheritable effect. When attacking, this Digimon can digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody and its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So since the trigger is just when attacking, it's the exact same timing of trigger activation as when attacking. So because of these trigger at the exact same time, by the rules of the Digimon card game, you are able to order the activation. So what you would do is you would trigger SkullKnightmon first, go into DarkKnightmon, and then you would trigger the X Antibody inheritable effect underneath it, and then you would digivolve that up into DarkKnightmon X Antibody. So if you have one of the DeadlyAxemons on the field, SkullKnightmon with its when attacking effect is going to let you digivolve for free, and then the option will let you digivolve into DarkKnightmon for a reduced cost of 4 because of his specific Digivolution effect that you see up here. So this lets you go quickly up into a level 6 for only 4 memory. This is an honorable mention that I'm tossing in here. If you want to build around this, I think it's really cool interaction to help you quickly climb up. The thing is, that's kind of a lot of pieces you want to see all together at once. You want to set up board as well. It's a little bit Winmore-ish. I don't think it's fair to call it, since it is a really strong move to make at any point in the game, but it just feels like you need a lot to go right for that to go off, and I'd rather just build towards more consistency and making our security more annoying for our opponent in a meta where you really want your stuff to survive the swing so you can Digicross later and stuff like that. It's not the end of the world for them if they just die to security, because a lot of materials get saved, but it is a little bit of a roadblock that helps us if we're able to annoy them a little bit. So I think this is a really cool combo. You could definitely build towards it. You would run like 2 X Antibody options to be able to pull that off, but I also don't think like the payoff for this is anything crazy just for all that either, which is why I'm not building towards it, but it's definitely worth mentioning if you want to build towards that. After all that, we have DeadlyAxemon. It's 4 to play, 3000 DP. On play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add up to 2 Digimon cards to the Knightmon and their names among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. And it's inheritable, gives your Knightmon or Pagumon in its name plus 2000 DP. So we're basically just running this to be able to have a little bit more search, but mainly because it's another name for our Digicross requirements. Then we have SkullKnightmon Cavalier mode. This card is also treated as SkullKnightmon and DeadlyAxemon. So yet again, this is just another card we're kind of running for its name to make sure we always have Digicross requirements. It's when Digivolving this Digimon gains jamming, and then it also gets blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. So it's cool if you need to buy that extra turn. It's nice if you want to swing safely into security, except for options. And it's only 1 to digivolve over a level 4, so it potentially gives you a little bit more cycling if you want to dig for anything. It's 3 to digivolve from a level 3, however, and it doesn't really do that much. So we're only going to run it at 2, and you could probably even argue running it at 1. Moving on to our level 5s, we have DarkKnightmon, which we saw earlier. It's really important to be able to hard slam things out. And then we have DarkKnightmon from the old set in BT7. It's 7 to hard slam, 7000 DP, 3 to digivolve from a black level 4. On play, you may place 1 SkullKnightmon and or 1 DeadlyAxemon for your hand and or trash at the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards in any order. So for a 7 cost level 5, that's not too bad to begin with, and then you get the real good value off of your inheritables. And then all turns, when this Digimon would be deleted, you may play 1 SkullKnightmon and or 1 DeadlyAxemon suspended that were in this Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying its memory cost. So that's kind of where the playstyle of this deck comes in. There is a lot of recursion to keep bodies floating on field and make sure you have enough stuff on field if you don't have it in hand already to keep doing the Digicross over and over again and getting soft hard slam to get their on-play effects off and gain value off that, and then come back and then build up again. As you'll see in a second as well, DarkKnightmon X also offers recursion from your DarkKnightmon, so there's always a way to kind of keep the grind game going with these decks. So to finish up our level 5 lineup, we have a bit of a tech choice here. We have Kimeramon. It is 40 Digivolve from any color, it is 8000 DP, 8 to hard slam, and it has the DNA Digivolution cost 0 from a level 4 and another level 4. When Digivolving, you may place 1 level 5 or lower Digimon card from your trash under this Digimon as a Digivolution card, then up to 4 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 1000 TP for each of this Digimon's colors until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your turn, this Digimon is also treated as having the colors as its Digivolution cards. While this Digimon has 4 or more colors, it gets plus 4000 DP. So we really just want it because this is such a generic DNA Digivolution. It's 0 from a level 4 plus a level 4. Since all the Digimon that constantly spew themselves out of your sources are basically level 4s, you're always going to have a ton of these on the field, and since you're rewarded for hard slamming them a lot of the time, or you're able to cheat them out some other way, it'll be pretty easy to have 2 level 4s out, and then once they've attacked, or with jamming or something like that with Cavalier mode, or if they live for whatever other reason, you're then able to go into Kimeramon, who doesn't have summoning sickness because he's a DNA Digivolution, and then this could be the last swing that you need for game. So Kimeramon is really cool in that way, and then if you have these 2 guys out, like your level 4s that you hard slammed anyways, but maybe there's a Chikurimon or Solarmon blocking your Digicross, it doesn't block Kimeramon, so you could go into this instead for your final swing if you just needed like 1 more attack. Then we have DarkKnightmon X Antibody. 12,000 DP, 5 to Digivolve from a black or purple level 5, 13 the Heart Slam, Digivolve 4 from a Darkknightmon specifically, and then when Digivolving, return one black or purple Digimon card other than DarkKnightmon X Antibody from your trash to your hand. Then, when this Digimon is DarkKnightmon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, delete one Tamer and to unsuspend this Digimon. On deletion, you may play one DarkKnightmon for your trash without paying its memory cost. So a bit of more of the same with that last effect there. This deck really wants to float and keep board presence up high to make it annoying for your opponent to clear board. And then its first effect is really cool. Not only do you get some recursion to get stuff out of trash that you might want to use again, you also get to delete one Tamer and unsuspend this Digimon. If you want to delete your own Nene, it synergizes with it because Nene actually first Tamer with an on deletion effect and it gains you 2 memory, which means you get to reduce this even further once you've Digivolved into it, making a potentially really cheap climb if you have that combo discussed earlier. It's really cool, but also you could delete one of your opponent's Tamer if you want to use it like that, and you get an extra check because it unsuspends itself after that. Because usually you're going to be going into this after like an attack, so this will be coming in unsuspended and potentially get you another swing depending how much memory you have. It's the boss monster for this deck and it has some utility. We have one DeathXmon because there's going to be a lot of Tamers being played in this set and there's going to be a lot of wide boards. For example, our deck was pretty wide sometimes if you don't Digi-Cross that same turn. So being able to drop this for a really reduced cost and force your opponent to answer it is incredibly strong and game swinging. You could definitely replace this just for another option card, you know, because we have only one removal here, so you could up that if you don't want to run DeathXmon. You could toss in another rookie, because another Chikuri would always be good. There's many options you could toss in if you don't have this, but if you own it, it's really nice to have in your list. We have one Iron Fisted Onslaught, so that this gives us the option for sort of removal, deleting all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost, so if a DeathXmon is dropped on us, we can remove it. Then we have Pride Memory Boost, the card made for this archetype. Main, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play a black Digimon card with a play cost of 4 or less, among them trash the remaining cards, then place this card in your battle area, and then main, delay, gain 2 memory. Great way to cheat out bodies onto the field since a lot of our guys have 4 cost or less, and then you also get to delay it later to gain 2 memory to not pass turn when you Digi-Cross a bigger guy. It's really fantastic, and I think 3 is the right memory because it's kind of hard to justify any option that isn't like removal you're hoping to see in security at 4, and this thing just plays itself in security. It just places itself into your battle area in security. It doesn't even trigger its on play, so I think 3 is good so you don't brick on it. We have Nene, which is a new Tamer introduced in the set. 3 cost, on play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with DarkKnightmon or DeadlyAxemon in its name, and Twilight and its traits among them to your hand. Place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. So if it reveals another Nene, you could grab it off of that because it only specifies 1 card and Twilight in its traits. And then opponent's turn, all of your Digimon with DarkKnightmon in their names or Twilight in their traits gain blocker, making it more annoying for your opponent to swing through your field. So that's a really great utility there. And then on deletion, gain 2 memory, which synergizes with the DarkKnightmon X we saw earlier, but also if your opponent is getting rid of this stuff, if they're playing Black or Greymon or something like that, it punishes them for deleting it. So there's really good utility in Nene, which is why we're running it at 3, but we need a memory tamer to make sure we can guarantee our play, so we have Izzy Izumi. Start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memories, set your memory to 3, which guarantees us big plays every turn, and then on play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. If all of them are black, you gain 1 memory, place the remaining cards on top of your deck in any order. So unfortunately, we do introduce a risk of missing that with the Kimeramon, but it's only 2 cards out of 50, so I like our odds there, potentially getting a memory tamer for only 3 memory, and then being able to know what's on top of your deck and then stack it however you want is always very powerful in a card game that involves so much drawing and needing to top deck exactly what you want. And that is going to be the list. I think Dark Knight does okay into a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, it really has a hard time keeping up with Crossheart decks because they have the luxury of being able to play their sources underneath their Tamers as well, which unfortunately we don't have something like Taiki in this deck to be able to do that. It has a lot of great recursion, but I just think it doesn't have enough to be able to push itself to the next level, so stuff like Bloom Lord and Blue Flare ends up outpacing it, either by stunning it in Blue Flare's case or by getting so much memory and board advantage in Bloom Lord's case. But other than that, I think it'll see some play as a decent rogue deck option in this format. Let me know what you guys think and how you're going to build it this format. Let me know what you were doing differently from this list, and I'll see you next time. Remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.